This is usually the remote I use.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's handy.
Get my questions pulled up.
Oh, nice.
There we go. All right, guys. Welcome to Talented Trevor. I'm your host, Trevor Shelley, the master of the Trev Shock. All right, today on my podcast, I have. Give yourself a little introduction.
Let's go. What's going on, everybody? My name is Greazy Keyz. I'm the organist for your Charlotte Checkers hockey team.
All right, Greazy Keyz.
Yes,
what
sir.
got you into playing for the sports for music?
Well, believe it or not, growing up, obviously I was a musician early on and played a little bit of sports, played a little bit of baseball. Grew up in Greenville, South Carolina, so hockey wasn't a big thing there, but was exposed to hockey when I moved to Charlotte in the late 90s and actually attended a couple of Checkers games, but at the time they didn't have an organist and had no idea that that was a thing, really, honestly.
Yeah.
So I've been a professional musician since, like I said, like the late 90s, but in 2015 is kind of, look at the draw, really. A friend of mine was the private piano teacher for someone in the front office for the Checkers, and apparently they wanted to hire them to be the organist.
Yeah.
But she was interested, but wasn't sure she could commit to all of the games for the very first season. So she just happened to reach out to me and said, "Hey, was this, would you be interested in playing organ for a hockey team?" I'm like, yeah, sure. I've never heard that before. I know, but as a a working musician, you don't say no to gigs. So I remember the very first day that she and I had walked into the Coliseum and had seen the organ there at the corner of the rink and saw right away that it was a Hammond C3 organ, which for keyboard players is like the pinnacle. Like every keyboardist dreams to one day play on a Hammond organ. So when I walked into the Bojangles Coliseum and saw that there, I knew this was going to be a gig for me. So auditioned, and they loved what I played. And so at the time, they were like, "Would you have any fun nicknames?" And I was like, "Well, actually, Greazy Keyz is one I came up with as an email handle that a few of my other musician friends had started to kind of pick up on and call me Greazy." So that was the nickname. I said, call me that. We'll put it on a jersey. Great. But 2015 was my first season, and it was just incredible to have the opportunity to play and to experience that side of a hockey game. I was immediately hooked and have just loved it ever since, coming on my 10th season.
Nice.
Yeah.
And now, since you're now a Calder Cup champion, technically.
Yes, I do have a championship ring. So,
and a Kannapolis Cannonballers champion, I think.
No, well, this past season, they made to the very last championship round, but they were eliminated the very last game against the Washington Nationals. So close to being a minor league hockey championship ring holder and possibly a single A championship baseball. But maybe one day.
We just need the Knights to get there.
Hey, exactly. Hey, the Knights, opportunity to play with those guys quite a bit. So, one day maybe.
Saw that you played with the Hornets.
Yes. Yeah. So once I plugged into playing the organ for the Checkers, let's see, that was 2015, and then in 2018, the Hornets actually reached out to me, and they were having a throwback season because it was the 30th season of basketball in Charlotte, and I guess back in the late 90s when they started, I guess they had an organist in the old Charlotte Coliseum, like when it's on Tidewell Road, which is something I never realized. But yeah, so that season, I played the Checkers, and then a few nights for the Hornets. They had one game per month where they had throwback night, where they had the old boards down, the classic Hugo mascot, and then me playing organ, which is cool because, like with hockey, I'm playing organ usually between plays, when the whistle blows, whereas with basketball, it was during gameplay. So whenever the Hornets got the ball, I would start to play something to kind of
Yeah.
as it would go down the court. So it was a lot of fun. That season, I remember we had Kimball Walker and Tony Parker playing, and it was such a fun experience to be playing while one of those guys were dribbling down, and when they went to shoot, I would do some kind of flourish on the organ. And so that was really something unique and fun that I never experienced with sports, to actually kind of play along with the game. And then in 2020, the Kannapolis Cannonballers single A team, they had just signed a deal to change the Intimidators to Cannonballers, and they built a brand new baseball stadium there, and they invited me to play there. The GM was just adamant about having a live organist. He was one that had grown up in the baseball world where having a live organist was a thing. And so 2020 I was hired, but then COVID hit.
Yeah.
And so we had to take a year. So 2021 was my first season with the Kannapolis Cannonballers. And just playing the organ for the baseball was just an incredible experience. That it was totally different than the way I did for the Checkers or the Hornets. But again, this brought a really nostalgic sound for fans who had grown up listening to that kind of music. So after that, I began to play some for the Charlotte Knights High A baseball team, and then this past year I was able to add a few games with the Greensboro Grasshoppers. So my baseball seasons have been more building a circuit of teams, which I enjoy doing. Yeah, which has been just incredible, and I want to continue to do.
Yeah, I just got to get the high A team for the White Sox.
Yeah.
Winston-Salem Dash.
The Dash, yeah. Yes. So, if I were to get those guys, then I would have the trifecta of White Sox teams around, because Kannapolis is the single A team.
Yeah.
And of course, Winston-Salem is the middle, and then the Knights are the high A. So look out, Winston.
So there's single A, high A.
Yeah.
Double A, and then triple A.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So
there you go.
Double A is all the way in Alabama.
Oh, there you go. See.
I just knew that because I had a buddy, he used to play for the Knights. J.B. Olson.
Yeah.
And I always looked at all of his games back then after meeting him, and I was like, interesting, this pitcher from Texas is pretty good. Yeah. I enjoyed watching him, meeting him. And now still to he hasn't been on the scene since 2023.
Wow.
So last season he got cut, but we still keep in contact while he still lives in Texas, coaching, I think.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
And so I've had that experience too with particularly like the championship team of the Checkers from 2019, to kind of keep track with some of those guys who are still playing and made it pretty well in the NHL. That's been really cool to do because, obviously we all have our teams that we love and cheer for, but, being an organist for the Checkers, you make connections with a lot of different players who go on to play with different teams. So it's hard to, to have a team that you fall in love with and you can follow that one team. No, it's like if anyone does a heck of a job, then they're out of there. So it's been fun to kind of follow some of those guys.
Exactly.
And have Trevor Carrick, like one of our guys, come back, which is fun.
Which I've been compared to a whole lot when I go to that Coliseum. They're like, you look like Trevor. And I'm like, yeah, it's actually where I got the name Trevor Shelley from. Yeah. It's because I'm a huge fan of Trevor Carrick.
There you go.
And then the last name Shelley's from Alex Shelley. He's a pro wrestler that just got signed to the WWE. But he's wrestled across the whole world. Yeah. Collecting championships. Right. So I was like, why not?
Why not?
I was like, I like the name.
Yeah. Trevor Shelley.
And then it came with Trev Shock, and I was like, that works.
It keeps rocking. I love it.
Yeah. All right. What is your top 5 movies?
Top 5. Ooh, left field here. Top 5 movies. Probably most of them are going to be older movies. I would say I loved like Pulp Fiction. That was a big one. Love that movie. Let's see. I loved Something About Mary. I love that movie. That was hilarious with Ben Stiller. Let's see. What else? Oh, I loved basically the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy. I could watch those anytime, especially like the director's cuts. I love those. I don't know if that counts as 3 or not, but maybe one.
Yeah,
but let's see, what else? But that kind of stuff. I don't get to see a lot of movies, but I love those. And of course, or maybe like early Pixar. Like Toy Stories, things like that. You know, like my kids who are grown now, you know, when they were growing up, like that was big Pixar movies. So I saw a lot of early Pixar movies and Shrek and things like that.
Yeah.
So those are, you know, movies that, you know, I still love to watch.
What is your top 5 TV shows while we're on the topic of?
All right, top 5 TV shows. So growing up, I loved, I was a big fan of Quantum Leap. That was one I really liked. Northern Exposure was another one from that era that kind of growing up I really loved. Lord, probably like the A-Team.
A-Team?
The A-Team was awesome. And see, and you know, as I got older, I loved like The Simpsons, probably, and Futurama. Like anything Matt Groening did, I always thought were awesome. You know, like I gravitate toward like cartoons like that. Bob's Burgers, loves that. You know, that show nowadays. Yeah, they're great.
What is your favorite team you have played for so far?
Oh, favorite team I've played for? Oh, Checkers.
Checkers?
100%. Yeah, there's not only because, you know, the excitement of hockey, but then, you know, just the Bojangles Coliseum. You know, it's a very historic building. It's built in the 1950s. So there's been a lot of concerts there. Yes. And the organ itself is installed in the Coliseum in the corner rink in section 127. And it's my understanding that the organ has been there since they built the Coliseum in 1955. And believe it or not, it was actually, they had an organist there. Her name was Doris Morgan. Doris Morgan on the organ from the 50s up until like the early 90s. Yeah. And so just the energy there, the spirit that kind of resides in that organ and the fans and everything is just the best. You know, not to ever knock the Hornets or knock, you know, any of the baseball teams. It's a totally different energy. But yeah, the Checkers is still my number one.
If you were in any video game, which game and why?
If I was in a video game, you know, I would probably be like something like, was it Red Dead Redemption? You know, like I always thought, you know, old westerns are awesome too. So it'd be fun to be, you know, be a character in Red Dead.
If you had to make a dream team of a band,
oh man, yeah,
of any time, who would be in it?
A dream band. Oh, that's tough.
We got you on keys.
Got me on keys, which, you know, I have, you know, a lot of my heroes are keyboard players. So I'd have to really think about that. I really like it could be like Living or Dead kind of thing.
Make that a little thinking.
A little more broad, yeah. Let's see. So, oh Lord, I would have to go somewhere with. I loved Lowell George of Little Feat. He was one of my favorite guitarists and singers. I'd have to go with. Who would be on? The drummer from Pink Floyd. His name was his last name Nick. I can't remember his last name. And then probably John Paul Jones, the bass player for Led Zeppelin. Okay, that would be the best, you know, our dream power band.
If Raleigh got a Major League Baseball team, what would the name be? And what would the mascot look like?
Raleigh.
So that's been in the talks.
I know, right? It's been talking about giving them a major team. Yeah.
So I'm trying to push it now where they got to actually
make it happen.
We give them the ideas.
Got to roll with the ideas. Let's see what would be good.
Even there's a fan account up there in Raleigh too that's trying to make it real. So let me just help them out.
You know, I'd have to see. To think about that, you know, think about things about Raleigh that make it never. Maybe it becomes more like a statewide kind of thing. You know, like the Carolina Panthers sort of represent. You know, and a lot of folks think that, you know, it represents North and South Carolina. So, a Raleigh team might be maybe the Raleigh Swingers.
I guess. If you could work with any sports team of any time, which team would it be?
Oh man, you know, I've always, I would love to see what I could do with, like, say, Charlotte FC.
Yeah.
I mean, they seem to be the hot Charlotte team now. With soccer, and a lot of folks have made comments online about, oh, you should have Greazy Keyz and you should do this and that. So that would be a lot of fun to sort of, dip my toe there and experience playing during the game at Bank of America Stadium. I've had the opportunity to play during Panthers games, like pre-gaming outside of the Bank of America Stadium. They have bands that play, and I've done that before, or even during halftime, like inside in some of the suite area there, the VIP suite. But one day for the Charlotte FC would be amazing. And also, I'd be honest, like I'd love an opportunity to play for an NHL team. With the Checkers farm team is for the Florida Panthers. I would love to make a trip to the Florida Panthers, or be honest with me, for the Hurricanes, Carolina Hurricanes. I'd love to play for those guys. I was this close.
ECHL team.
Yeah,
Savannah Ghost.
Yeah, Savannah Ghost Pirates. I actually reached out to them once I heard that we became affiliated with them. But nothing panned out for this season. But maybe next season or so, make a chance, have an opportunity to bring the Greazy Keyz live organist to a Savannah Ghost Pirates game. I would love that. But yeah, whenever the Checkers were affiliated with the Hurricanes, I had made friends. They actually had a live organist. Larry Olson was his name. And when I got hired on, I actually had an opportunity to go up there for a game and sort of watch and learn some of his tricks and kind of get a feel for what it was like to be an organist in a sporting event. But then a couple of seasons later, he retired. And instead of hiring another organist, they ended up just auctioning off the organ that was there, which is sad. But before they did, Larry had retired, but the organ was still there for one more season, I think. And he contacted me and said, hey, they may do a throwback night as the Whalers, and I think they might want to have hire you to come up and play. And I'm like, yes, I would be there in a moment. But the call never came. But and then said not long after they sold the organ. But maybe one day, because I think that was a huge. It's always a huge plus to have a live organist at any hockey game, whether it's ECHL or NHL. It's a huge boost for the fans. They love it. It brings the nostalgia. It brings, again, just live energy, someone who can kind of play off the energy of the game and not just be a DJ pressing play to the same 10 songs every game. So,
if you were in any TV show, which TV show and why?
A TV show. A TV show. Let's see. Would it be? Were we talking about like a reality TV, like Survivor style, or just like acting? Let's see. I always thought like something like Friends would be fun. To have be in a show where just you and your buddies hang around in a coffee shop. That always seemed like a lot of fun. So or like a Seinfeld style. That would be fun. Where it's more just anecdotal, kind of just living day to day. Show about nothing.
Nerdy answer. Yeah. All right, we're going to start this little Trev Shock.
Okay, let's go. Trev Shock.
Okay, it's Trev Shock. You have 30 seconds to answer these 6 questions.
Okay.
All right. You ready?
So, 6 questions, all of them answered in 30 seconds.
Well, most people don't get. They usually go past the 30 seconds.
All right. Okay. All right. We'll give it a shot.
I've only had one person actually complete it last season on my podcast.
Okay. All right. This is a challenge. The Trev Shock.
Yes. All right. First question. Who was your music mentor?
Didn't have one.
Who was your favorite band growing up?
The Black Crowes.
What was your first show you worked?
First show I worked was at a band called Dr. Rhubarb at a place called Characters in Greenville, South Carolina.
How many championships have you worked with the teams that have won the championship?
One.
One, and that's the Checkers.
The Checkers.
Favorite sports team?
Charlotte Checkers.
Favorite Looney Tunes character?
Tasmanian Devil.
All right, and that is all it is.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Greazy Keyz, for being on the podcast.
Thanks, Trev Shock. Appreciate you, buddy.
All right. We will see you guys next time.